हाँ किधर है बच्चे आए हैं what that boy just send the paper over please yes you sent to both na
Yes, ma'am.
it is 432 515 na okay and 520 about can you do this one behind moments
Oh, yes, ma'am.
after moments what you want me to do in the session you got your book
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
the last trial you did
Yes, ma'am.
last trial is okay 1 moment let's just see this Now, can you give me a pen, please? What have you done? You've done determinants.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. done determinants.
Yes.
Then modals.
Moderation.
Hmm?
Yes.
Modals also done.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Basic reading, basic grammar and speaking skills. Subject verb coordination. Tenses.
Yes, yes.
Writing a story.
Yes.
Writing descriptive paragraph. Rain on the roof. No.
Rain on the roof. No, you did it.
Rain on the roof.
Yes.
I think rain.
Rain on the roof.
Just check and see rain on the roof. Yeah. But then has rain on the roof been done?
No, in the school, yes.
Here, beauty.
No, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. We had done the previous chapter before.
Wind, I know I did.
No, we have done that truly beautiful man. Until
No, from the very beginning, right from April. Has it been done?
No.
Rain on the roof not done at all. Rain on the roof not done. The Lake Isle of History. Lake Isle of History. A Legend of Northland. No men are foreign. I'm killing a tree. The snake. A slumber with my spirit seal. The duck and the kangaroo. A truly beautiful mind.
yes,
I took 2 hours for that. No?
yes.
The snake and the mirror.
No,
My childhood.
no,
Reach for the top.
no,
The bond of love.
no,
Kathmandu. If I were you. Packing. The lost child.
yes.
In the kingdom of fools. The happy prince. Within the storm in Irasana. The last leaf. A house is not a home. The accidental tourist. The beggar. Where's the wind? The wind isn't giving here. Wind is there. Wind. You got a book.
In the mean,
Huh?
in the mean.
Where's the textbook? Take this one. Text. You got the textbook, no? Main textbook. Wind is there, no?
Yes, yes.
But wind is not marked here. Wind is there, no? I did the wind, no? Did you? Okay. So today what we'll do, Prana? Today we are going to do what I said.
Moments.
Yeah, at the moment, but what will I do now today? The last trial is this done?
Yes, we read the first 3 chapters.
Huh?
We read the first 3 chapters.
First chapter, this is the first chapter.
First 3. The last chapter, it mentions of Tutu.
So I read it up.
Tutu.
So they all this book that is complete. And the Ishwaran is storyteller.
Yes, ma'am.
That was the English.
Yes.
In the kingdom of fools, you don't have not done that, no?
No.
Okay. So we do that in the kingdom of fools, no? Okay. Okay, so in the kingdom of fools, come forward, my son. Last time, what we should not complete is completed at home?
Yes.
No. No. You have done it at home. We did incomplete work, no? About the beautiful mind. Still, जो इनकम्प्लीट हो गया आपकी घर में यहाँ तक कंप्लीट किया नहीं, क्यों ऐसा करता है आप लोग? हाँ, what? Exams are there, but then we have to do it today, complete it today. In the kingdom of fools, take your book out. It is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Who are the fools in this story, and what happens to them? In the kingdom of fools, both the king and the minister were idiots. They didn't want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night till their fields will plow their fields, okay? Plow their fields and run their businesses only after dark and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. The people did as they were told for fear of death. For fear of death means for fear of being killed. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. What was the project? What was their project?
To turn night into day and day into night.
Correct. The people did as they were told for fear. One day, a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep. Not a mouse stirring. Stirring means even a mouse did not move. Mouse was also sleeping. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. The two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening. Then suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business. What was the nightly business? What they do in the day, they were doing at night. For them, night was day. The two men were hungry, and after the shops were opened, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same. A single dudu. Whether they brought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a dudu. Dudu was a type of currency. The Guru and his disciples were delighted. They had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for rupee. What was the value of the dudu? A rupee. When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay here. There is no place for us. Let's go, he said to his disciple. But the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was cheap here. All he wanted was good, cheap food. Who now? The disciple. The Guru said, they're all fools. This won't last very long. And you can't tell what they'll do to you next. Now, who was telling him?
The Guru.
The Guru. The Guru was appeared to be a wise person. So the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, do what you want. I'm going, and he left. See, there's a difference between wisdom and knowledge. What do you think is the difference between wisdom and knowledge? What do you think? The difference between knowledge and wisdom. See, when you have knowledge, it's fine. How you use that knowledge is wisdom. You have the knowledge. How do you use that knowledge is wisdom. Secondly, wisdom is a gift from God. You can't get wisdom from, your day-to-day experiences, from your day-to-day happenings. You can get experience. And people who are older and have experienced something, they will tell you, see, Baba, don't do this, do that. That's sort of wisdom. That's sort of, knowledge. It's sort of warning. It's sort of information. Ultimately, what you do with that information is your wisdom, is your gift from God. Wisdom is a gift from God. And if you want to live very successfully today, You should always pray to God to give you wisdom, not to give you knowledge. To give you wisdom. Knowledge you can get from books. Wisdom you cannot get from books. Alright? Wisdom is a deeper or higher level of intelligence. You can be very intelligent, but you should be, there's a difference between intelligence and being wise. You don't need to be intelligent to be wise. Okay? Sometimes the most uneducated person, the most stupidest person has got wisdom. Okay? That is it. But the disciple, okay, the Guru left, finally gave up and said, do what you want, I'm going. And he left. The disciple stayed on and ate his fill every day. What did he eat? He had bananas and he had ghee and he had rice and wheat and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. Street side sacred bull, he grew fat like that. Why do they say a street side sacred bull is fat? Because it's continuously eating from the streets. It's continuously eating. But they use the word bull here. Bull is sacred. So people keep on buying and feeding it with, bundles of hay. The bull is eating. It's not even roaming around. It's standing there on the street and people are feeding it. So they've grown fat. Okay. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. Sneaked in means got inside. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. Who? The merchant or the thief? Who was killed?
The thief.
The thief. His brother ran to the king and complained, Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, oh my God, see how he's putting it, pursuing his ancient trade. He didn't say when my brother was robbing the house. It is his ancient, old profession. A wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good, strong wall. We must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. The king said, Justice will be done. Don't worry. And at once he summoned the owner of the house. He called the owner of the house. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, What's your name? Such and such, Your Highness. Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him. The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed his brother, man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. Who is that? My lord, the wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He's an old man now and he lives nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him, tied, hand and foot. Old man. Bricklayer means what you eat like an okay. You there, did you build this man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You murdered him. You have to punish you by death. Before the king could order the execution means killing. The poor bricklayer pleaded, Please listen to me before you give your orders. It is true I built this wall and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down the street all day with her ankles jingling. In England, gumru, they were jingling. I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. So what is happening here? What exactly is happening here? Can you understand what's happening here?
They are just blaming on each other.
One is putting the blame on the other. Nobody is taking consequences or responsibility of that event. Now, I know where she lives. You're right. The case deepens. Case deepens when this entire thing is becoming more and more. We must look into it. It's not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer wherever she is. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? Yes, my lord. I remember it very well. So did you walk up and down with your ankles jiggling? You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You've killed an innocent man. You shall be punished. She thought for a minute, and said, my lord, wait. I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when the vicar saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damned goldsmith's fault. Poor thing should actually be right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. Evidence means the proof. And this actually happens in our judicial system also. Suppose you are building a house and you ask the next door neighbor, whether you can, sort of use his property to put all your things there. The neighbor, out of his good-heartedness, will say yes. As soon as the building is completed, take your things back. The man was not a clean man. After he built his house, he didn't take his things back. In fact, he said, put a case against that he robbed his things. He robbed his things, and that's how his things landed there. And now he's saying, take my things. Half my things are not there. So many things were there which I put there were all stolen. See how he put the case against this man. Okay, now there and then it's between the two people. But then the political people entered. One fellow was a Christian, one fellow was a Muslim. So religion got into it, politics got into it, and the case carried on, with one person making false allegations against the other. One fellow saying that he raped my wife, he ran away with my daughter from a small incident. It became a big blown up issue. It happened in Bagashi. Ultimately, the one who gave him his property to use died. And his sons who were in Australia, they had to come back to look after the mother because she's all alone. So he lost his job, and because he came from Australia, he came all alone and waited here with his mother till the case was cleared up. In the meantime, he left his wife there. His wife divorced him. See the complications. This happens when things are not done with a clean heart. Nobody and no court can fight it because lies which you tell and cannot be proved. Now what do? There is no proof. So innocent people get unnecessary into great trouble till death. Now, the poor thing is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. We've got to get the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith wherever he's hiding at once. The king's bailiff means all his courtiers who are responsible for carrying out the king's orders. The king's bailiff searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. My lord, he said, I'm a poor goldsmith. It's true I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before. I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are. Who is the rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? Made her walk up and down, which distracted his bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, and which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? Goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. They always catch up with you. It came back in full circles. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king, back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying. It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent. It's my father who asked for the jewelry, not I. And my father is dead. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively in a very firm decision. Okay? It's true your father is a true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. And he ordered a new stake to be made, ready for the execution. Stake is what? That platform and those two things with a bar and execution. Rod will fall down. So he's down there and they have to hit him on his neck and cut it off. That is called the stake. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, impaling means killing of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too was worried about it. The merchant was very, very thin to be put on the stake. What shall we do? He said. Then suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake. And their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and ghee and wheat. What have I done wrong? I'm innocent. I'm a sannyasi, he cried. Sannyasi means a holy man. A holy man. That may be true, but it's a royal decree. Royal decree means royal order. That we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake. They said and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. The guru had a vision, and he saw that his disciples were going to be executed. He had magic powers. He could see far, and he could see the future, and he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple, who had got himself into such a scrap through love of food. He came running back to get to the aid, to come to the aid of the disciple who had got into this problem. Scrap means problem because of his excess eating of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him. O wisest of kings, who is greater, the guru or the disciple? Of course the guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor. Me first. Clamor means shout out. Me first. He brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him. The guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by his behavior. He asked the guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied the guru. Why? There's some mystery here. A wise man, you must make me understand. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the guru. The king gave him his solemn word. Solemn means promise. Promise, I will put you to death. The guru took him aside out of the servant's earshot and whispered to him. Whom now? The guru whispered to whom? The king. Do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We've been all over the world, but we've never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is a stake of the God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country. And whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. We are sick of our own ascetic life. Ascetic life means nomadic life, roaming around from one day for ascetics, gurus, okay, ascetics means those who have renounced the world. Those who have renounced the world are called ascetics. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember? The king was now thrown into deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. Next round of life means next life. Means when he dies, he'll come back again to live. Usually they say his Atma has become a dog. Some may become a, depending upon the way of life you have lived. Here he says, I want to come back as king and minister. He needed time, so he ordered the execution postponed the next day and talked to the secret minister. It's not right for us to give over our kingdom to others in the next life. Let's go on the stakes ourselves. We will be born as king and minister again. But the king said, why should we give our kingdom to somebody else? When we die, I become king again and you become minister again, so we'll get our kingdom back. No? Holy men do not tell lies, he said, and the minister agreed. He said, see, you better kill us and believe what the holy man said because they would tell lies. So again I will come back as king. After I die, I will come back as king and you will come back as minister. So let us die and the kingdom will be our kingdom. If we are living and these people are put to death, they will get the kingdom. So he told the executioners, we'll send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, you put him to death first. Then do the same thing to the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. Now, who said that? The king told the executioners. When we send the criminals tonight, the people who are to be executed, we send them tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death. Then do the same thing to the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison, released the Guru and his disciples, and disguised themselves as two, as arranged beforehand, with loyal servants. They were taken to the stake and promptly executed. So what happened is the two prisoners were released. Who were the two prisoners? The Guru and his disciples. And this king and his minister, they entered the prison and disguised themselves as Guru and disciple. And they were executed immediately. Naturally, because it was the punishment that they had to face. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to the crows and vultures, the people panicked. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister, and the city was in confusion. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed, trying to leave the town without being seen. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took a longer time to persuade the Guru. The disciple suggested, I will become your minister. But the Guru was very difficult to persuade him to become the king. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they would change all the old laws. They brought the old laws again. Day will be day, night will be day. Okay? From then on, night would be again night and day would be again day. And you could get nothing for a dulu. It became like any other place. The simple fairy tale. Understood it? Not very difficult to understand. Now, read the whole lesson. If you have any difficulties, ask me. Okay? And then we work out the question answer. Start. In school you have had English test. How many marks you got?
My exams just.
Huh?
My exams just.
You got how many marks?
I'm 16 and a half. I'm 16 and a half.
16 and a half.
Yes.
On?
I'm 20.
On 20. You're from the same school?
No,
So how do you answer? You're from the school?
I'm ABJ.
And you?
Ryan.
So they didn't need your marks?
No.
Yeah, no problem. Then work out the chances. Okay, I'll come back, okay?